In the total darkness of an underground temple, a secret was buried 5,000 years ago. It wasn't written in stone. It was written in air. When scientists brought modern sensors into these chambers, they found a physical impossibility. Every room was tuned to a single, haunting note. At exactly 110 Hz, the stone begins to sing. This is the resonant frequency of the human skull. And the ancients, they knew the key. This wasn't for music. This was a biological hack. At this exact frequency, the part of your brain that handles logic simply goes dark. This is the Oracle Chamber, a 5,000-year-old biological computer built to trigger visions, out-of-body experiences, and divine encounters. But Malta was just the beginning. From the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Peru, the 110 Hz blueprint is everywhere. It is a global language of stone. How did primitive man calculate the physics of resonance to the exact decimal point? Who gave them the map? To the human mind, this is the mystery of the divine frequency, a secret written in echoes, and it's louder than you think. They weren't just building walls, they were carving acoustic mirrors. Every curve was a deliberate calculation to catch and throw the sound. Take Newgrange in Ireland. For 5,000 years, we thought these spirals were just art. But modern physics tells a different story. They are sound diffuser. The spirals prevent echoes. They break up the sound, ensuring the 110 Hz frequency hits the human ear from every direction at once. Total immersion. They found stones with high quartz content, stones that ring like bells. These were the prehistoric amplifiers, the first subwoofers in human history. The masters of sound spent lifetimes listening to the stone, choosing only the ones that hummed at the frequency of the mind. They calculated the Helmholtz resonance, the math of air vibration in a hollow space long before the Greeks or Romans had a name for it. When the math is perfect, the sound becomes a drug. It doesn't just enter your ears, it enters your nervous system. The hack is complete. Across the world, the blueprint remained the same. Stone, geometry, and the frequency that changes everything. In 2026, we stopped guessing. We took the Stone Age frequency into the most advanced neuroscience labs in the world. Researchers at UCLA and Stanford found a biological anomaly. When a subject hears 110 Hz, something happens that shouldn't be possible. The left prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles logic and ego, simply shuts down. The internal critic goes silent. Suddenly, the brain shifts into a theta state, the same state we experience during deep REM sleep or intense psychedelic journeys. But it's not just electricity. The sound triggers a chemical flood, a massive release of dopamine and endorphins. The sound is a drug. For the ancients, this wasn't just a hum. It was a vibrational key that unlocked the gates of perception without a single drop of medicine. When the logic center dies, the divine takes over. Visions, hallucinations, and out-of-body experiences become the new reality. They weren't just praying to gods, they were engineering them. They created a physical space where the gods were a biological certainty. High in the Peruvian Andes, at 10,000 feet, lies Chavindawanta, a temple that doesn't just sit in the mountains, it breathes. Archaeologists found a secret hidden beneath the floors, a massive hydraulic system, not for drinking, but for acoustic power. As the river was diverted into these stone pipes, it created a Bernoulli effect. The air began to vibrate. The temple began to growl. It is the sound of a jaguar, a deep 110 Hz guttural roar that vibrated the very foundation of the earth. A constant, terrifying hum. Imagine the psychological impact. You enter a dark tunnel, and the god is literally screaming beneath your feet. Your logic fails. Your fear takes over. Modern tests show that jaguar pipes were tuned to perfection. They converted the kinetic energy of the river into a biological weapon of sound. It's called entrainment. Your heart rate, your breathing, and your brain waves all sync to the frequency of the temple. You are no longer yourself. Shavin wasn't a church. It was a resonance lab. A machine designed to break the human mind and rebuild it in the image of a god. But the mystery doesn't stop in the Andes. 7,000 miles away, in the heart of the Great Pyramid, the same ghost is waiting. When you strike the empty granite chest in the king's chamber, it rings like a bell. It is perfectly tuned to the resonant frequency of the room itself. Stonehenge, Teotihuacan, Newgrange. Everywhere we look, we find the 110 Hz blueprint, a global language written in vibration. How did civilizations with no contacts separated by oceans and millennia arrive at the exact same mathematical frequency for the human mind? Is it possible they weren't discovering this independently? Was there a source code shared by a lost, global maritime civilization? They left the instructions in the stone. They built the machines, and they waited for us to find the key. The key is sound. This is no longer archaeology. This is sonic forensics, and the deeper we go, the louder the truth becomes. Sound is not just something you hear. It is a physical hammer, and at the right frequency, it can shatter the world. The legends of Jericho describe walls falling at the blast of a trumpet. For centuries, we called it a myth, but physics tells a different story. Every object has a resonant frequency. If you hit a stone wall with its own vibration for long enough, the molecular bonds simply give up. In 2026, the military is rediscovering this forbidden tech. Non-lethal sonic weapons that can stop a crowd or a tank using nothing but air. But our ancestors didn't need electronics. They used bull roarers and lithophones. They understood how to weaponize the very air they breathed. Archaeologists have found giant bronze horns in Ireland that can be heard for 10 miles. When played together, they create a sonic wall of interference. Imagine an army that doesn't charge. They simply hum. A collective vibration so powerful it causes the enemy's heart to skip a beat. Total psychological warfare. They knew the secret of the vibrational weapon. A power so dangerous, it had to be erased from the history books. Until now. But the sonic blueprint doesn't stop at the Earth's surface. These temples weren't just tuned to us. They were tuned to the stars. In the 21st century, we call it orbital mechanics. To the ancients, it was the music of the spheres. Every planet has a frequency. The Earth itself has a heartbeat, to Schumann resonance. By tuning their temples to 110 Hz, they were syncing the human brain to the planet's own pulse. These weren't just buildings. They were interstellar antennas, built to catch the hum of the cosmos and beam it directly into the subconscious. NASA has recorded the sound of the sun and the planets. When you shift those sounds into a range we can hear, the result is a hauntingly familiar 110 Hz hum. They used sound to track the precession of the equinoxes, a 26,000-year cycle, calculated perfectly using nothing but stone and vibration. They used these resonant chambers as acoustic observatories. By measuring the vibration of the wind through these shafts during stellar alignments, they could calculate the solar year to within seconds. We thought they were staring at the stars. We were wrong. They were listening to them, and what they heard changed the course of human evolution. But if this technology was global, why did it disappear? The transition from resonant temples to silent cathedrals was a deliberate turning point in history. During the Middle Ages, the science of resonance was branded as sorcery. The mathematical keys to the mind, the flutes, the horns, the tuning stones were systematically destroyed. The acoustic engineers, the masters of sound, were silenced. Their knowledge of 110 Hz was buried beneath layers of dogmatic ritual, replaced by silence and prayer. We were disconnected from the planet's natural frequency. This sonic divorce led to a documented rise in human psychological disharmony that modern science is only now identifying. For 1,000 years, humanity entered a state of acoustic chaos. We lost the ability to sync our biology with the resonant frequencies of the Earth itself. Today, archaeology is performing sonic forensics. We are rediscovering that instruments like the Egyptian sistrum were actually calibrated medical devices for tissue repair. We are finding that what the ancients called the voice of God was actually the systematic application of frequency for neurochemical release. Pure biology. The frequency never died. It stayed hidden in the stones, waiting for a civilization with the technology to finally listen. And that time is now. Sound is not just a sensation, it is a kinetic force. Today, oncology labs are using the Jericho effect to shatter cancer cells without a single incision. At MIT, researchers discovered that specific frequencies can physically clean the brain. The same vibrations found in ancient temples are now being used to treat Alzheimer's. We call it ultrasonic bone healing. It is the modern evolution of the stone medicine that gave Neolithic surgery patients a 90% survival rate. In the ancient world, they built healing temples. Today, we build resonance chambers. A modern patient on an ancient stone bed is receiving the exact same biological hack. The secret lies in the vagus nerve. The 110 Hz frequency acts as a master switch, turning off the fight or flight response and activating deep cellular repair. This is bioacoustic archaeology. We are finding that ancient instruments were actually calibrated medical tools, designed to vibrate the human body at a cellular level. New studies suggest that even our DNA responds to sound. Frequency can trigger gene expression. This is the master key that the ancients held for millennia. But the ultimate masterpiece of stone engineering lies in India, the Vitala temple, where the pillars themselves are instruments. These are the Saptaswara pillars, 56 solid blocks of granite, each one tuned to a different note of the Indian musical scale. Solid stone that rings like silver. How did they do it? Geologists discovered that these pillars aren't uniform. The mineral density was tuned during the carving process to create specific acoustic resonance. When played together, the temple becomes a massive 110 Hz tuned orchestra, a mechanical sound machine that could be heard for miles. This wasn't just for entertainment, it was collective entrainment. An entire city's heartbeats syncing to the frequency of the temple. Total social harmony through sound. Acoustic mapping reveals that the sound is focused toward the center of the temple, creating a sonic sanctuary where the 110 Hz effect is strongest. In the Golgumbas of India, a single whisper against the wall can be heard clearly 130 feet away on the opposite side. It's an audio laser. Separated by thousands of miles in different religions, the architecture remains the same. A perfect parabola that forces sound waves to follow the curve of the wall. Devotees called the Whispering Gallery effect, because the wall is perfectly smooth and curved. The sound waves cannot escape. They are trapped against the stone. For the rulers of the ancient world, this wasn't just a gimmick, it was surveillance. They could hear secret conspiracies from across the room without ever leaving their throne. This is focusing resonance, the same way a lens focuses light. These stones' domes focus sound. They are, in every sense of the word, acoustic satellites. We are finding the same parabolic math in modern, long-range acoustic devices. Math that was carved into the domes of India and Europe nearly a millennium ago. To find the ultimate power of the 110 Hz frequency, we have to look deeper into the seismic blueprint of the Earth. Ancient temples aren't just placed for beauty. Over 80% of the world's most resonant sites sit directly on active geological fault lines. Geologists found a shock. The Earth emits a constant low-frequency hum. By placing heavy stone on these stress points, the ancients were harvesting energy. It's a global seismic network, a planet-wide battery system where the stone acts as transmitters, and the 110 Hz frequency is the carrier wave. Granite is 25% quartz. When you put 6 million tons of pressure on Itaz in the Great Pyramid, it generates piezoelectricity, solid, glowing power from the Earth. This wasn't just magic, it was geoacoustic engineering. They were using the weight of the mountain to power the visions of the mind. At Giza, the Jed pillars were used to stabilize the seismic vibrations. They were tuning forks for the planet's tectonic plates. Stability through sound. They didn't live on the Earth, they lived with it. A symbiotic relationship where human consciousness was the final circuit in a global machine. But we broke the connection. We built over the fault lines. We silenced the stones, and the result is the modern crisis of the mind. We have looked at the stones for 5,000 years. We called them tombs, we called them ruins, but we were looking with our eyes, not our ears. The science of 110 Hz proves that our ancestors were masters of a technology we are only now starting to hear. A medicine of the future, hidden in the past. They left the instructions in the stone. They built the machines, and they waited for us to find the key. That key is sound. The frequency never died. It stayed hidden in the echoes. And the deeper we go, the louder the truth becomes. This is sonic forensics, a new chapter in human history. And it's only just begun.